All right, the first question that I had was about you were telling me earlier today it took this filmmaking, like making this film took 6 years.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about that process and everything that went into you guys like developing and getting from like the original idea to actually making the film?
Well, it started in 2016. I wrote a first draft, which was pretty short, and then I went into developing the script into a feature film over time with Bill Whedon and Mike, not Mike Boas, but he contributed to that too, my teacher, Mike Boas, but he's not credited as a scriptwriter. But Kurt Markham, it was basically Kurt Markham, myself, and Bill Whedon. And we had a first campaign. We tried to raise the money. At first, Kickstarter failed. Tried to raise the money again on Indiegogo. We failed, and to raise what we needed. So then, and we had done in 2018. We had done a sizzle reel from the advice of Kurt Markham, my friend, and he's an assistant filmmaker. Well, not as he's just a filmmaker and a friend of mine. He's done his own films too, Kurt. And eventually, I found it. Originally, the first actor that has Down syndrome that was gonna be in the film was gonna be Josh Perry, and he's from Louisiana, and I got in touch through him through his brother, Scott Allen Perry, and he was in these Josh Perry was in these YouTube videos way back in the day. This is how I learned about him, called The Retarded Policeman, and I thought he would be great for a movie like this, but unfortunately, we ran into a bump in the road where he had to do things for only SAG-AFTRA productions, which were union films. You know, the union, SAG-AFTRA. And then they wanted the production to be $1 million, and Scott wasn't getting along with Bill Whedon. He was driving him nuts for some reason and being a diva. So we had to say goodbye to Josh. And then as time went on, when I went into production on my first narrative feature film that I directed, Clowns in the Woods, I discovered Nolan through Sam Vandervray, who is both Nolan and Sam are from Massachusetts. And Sam was telling me about, because we were looking for an actor with Down syndrome to audition to play the part of I'm trying no, I'm trying to remember the character's name. It's been a while since I've seen Clowns in the Woods. Well, just a character with Down syndrome, I'll say. I just forgot the character's name. But Dan, that was his name, Dan. Yeah. Yeah, it was Dan, and he was he was Nolan's character. Dan was he was a co-star in the film. He was a sort of a main character, but wasn't. And I had made Clowns in the Woods as a precursor to Special Needs Revolt. It basically was a proof of concept, you might want to say, to show that I can do a narrative film as a director. So we tried again to raise the money, and we did find somebody in Rochester who was an investor, who is a pretty wealthy guy, but he said he only gave us $2,000 as a as a starter, but he never fulfilled his promise to come back and give us the rest of the money. to make Special Needs Revolt. He said, "Oh, I can't do it. I'm working on this on inner city school documentary, which I haven't even seen come out yet." So my mom made the decision that both me and her have to invest our own money to make this movie. We can't let other people who've already invested their time and energy into this project down. We gotta just get the ball rolling. So whatever money we raised or had, we put that into the funds too, and that's the rest is history. Having
Sorry,
to
I had to mute. That's really interesting. It seems like a huge part of that was not so much like once you have the idea, really having the right people come together to make the project happen.
right.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's really great that you were able to find the right team because it turned out so well.
Oh, well, thank you. It took a lot of energy, time, and strength to make this movie with the help of everyone and Nolan and
It feels like a passion project, and I mean, it's successful as far as I'm concerned. I really enjoy watching it each time.
oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to hear.
Same here.
The next question I had was, I'm a big fan of comedy. Like we watch a lot of stand up in the stream and stuff, and a lot of different genres of comedy. Um, and this film was really hilarious. So I was just curious, do you guys have any experience with comedy previous to this? Or how did you choose to make it like satire?
Um, I chose to make. I have no experience with comedy. I the only no all I could relate to making this film is I am a fan of Lloyd Kaufman and Trauma Entertainment and South Park and so forth. So I just thought of putting the best script I could together with the help of Bill Whedon and Kurt Markham to get the movie made. And a lot of the stuff you see with the Trumpian, the speeches that Bill did playing Kruger, he wrote that all himself and put it in the script. And some parts were ad-libbed.
While I was watching it, I was thinking, who is this guy? This guy is so funny. And he is like really eating this part up. Like he is doing it justice. He is like, you can't do a great villain unless you want to be a great villain. And like I thought that he really gave us a great iconic villain. Like that's a Halloween costume. I want to dramatically brush my dead wig.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. So, yeah, what about you, Nolan? Did you have a question that was, yeah, Nolan did a fantastic job, I thought.
I was wondering about Nolan's experience with comedy too. Like, do you like comedy? Do you like watch a lot of it? Because you're really funny.
Thank you. I actually grew up watching with any genre of movie, and one of them is comedy.
Yes, I love movies too. And comedy is just, I feel like anytime I need laughs, I really am like,
Yeah,
comedy is something, it's good to throw it in at least once a week, get
yeah.
yourself some laughs. There are people out there dedicating themselves to making sure we can laugh when we need to. And we
Hmm.
really appreciate that type of artistry.
Thank you.
I want to
Yeah,
give
thanks.
other people a chance to ask questions. If you guys want to ask, you can use the raise your hand reaction, and then I'll just unmute you. Let me make sure I'm looking at it right. Okay, well, I have another question, which is about 15 minutes into the film, it almost feels like that was a short film introduction, and then the real movie is now getting started. And you guys do like the opening credit sequence, and I love the opening credits, honestly. I think that people pay more attention when the credits are earlier on, and so I love the opening credits. But what made you guys choose to do that format for this film?
Um, with the opening credits, I thought of doing it with that was my idea to edit it and put in like the kind of like serious stuff about like which is unfortunately relevant to what's going on now in our country. I mean, of course, I mean with today being the No Kings protest, nobody was shot, beaten, or killed. But I hope it doesn't come to that. It doesn't happen. But um, I just thought that would be an important and very important touch to put in the opening credits, and to put in the Karens, you know, both male and female, being racist and harassing minorities in our community, and because that happens every day to a lot of minorities, to people who are different in in our community and communities, I should say. And the part with Debbie Rashan, where she plays the on-air radio host, news radio host, that came from actually a last-minute thing when we were starting production. I had written up some dialogue. My friend and co fellow filmmaker uh, Greg Lamberson, he suggested to put that Debbie Rashan be in the film, and he told me she was here in Rochester where we were filming another movie, and she's on break, and she can add this part for the opening credits where we see her lips and then see her full head and face talking, and she gets shot and killed at before the when the credits come up, when it cuts to black with the credits in the opening. So that was thanks to Greg Lamberson, and Debbie Rashan knew me from when I interviewed her for Greetings from Tromaville. And I had also interviewed her for a documentary I co-directed with Kurt Markham called Nickel City, Tinseltown, about Buffalo, the history of Buffalo, New York filmmaking. So she knew who I was already, so it was no problem. But that was basically my where I came from for doing the opening credits, to hit people on the head with reality and then bring people back into the like gross out, shock humor and violence and so forth. But a lot of that shock value came from trauma entertainment.
It really hit that way because you see like it's getting sillier and sillier a little bit, and a little more over the top. And then like Nolan has his accident, and then the opening credits and the flashes to like real stuff that's happened for a minute. You're almost like it reminds you of how real what's going on is what's happening, and you're almost like, oh yeah, I have to remember. You remember then later, oh yeah, this is very silly, but it does give you a reality shock when you feel those like moments. And it's like, especially with what's going on now with the journalist, you're like, wow, it's very grounding moment while watching what is a very funny movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One question from KS Hernandez is, that was awesome. Well done to all the players. I found myself feeling like much of this was prophetic, especially since you started the film in 2016. And then he who shall not be named wasn't as out there as he is this time. I found myself laughing then, like, wait, this shit is really happening. Can you tell us about some of the sources that the actor playing Kruger used to make the character so very close to the bone for what we're experiencing now?
I guess it was a coincidence, to answer your question. He was just going over the top and adding. stuff in, Bill Whedon was to make it so crazy and over the top like a dictator. And this was bad. When we filmed it for production in 2 years ago in 2023, we had no idea things were going to get a lot worse with ICE and Homeland Security. So, Joe Biden was president then, and we weren't expecting him to win again. But,
Yep.
but so, but I was really upset, really angry, and then my mom and your mom, Nolan, calmed me down, saying this is good for our film because that means people are going
Yep.
to watch the movie and it will become a cult classic, according to your mom, Amy,
And
and
it
my
is.
mom. Yeah.
I can't see how it couldn't be a cult classic, especially now. Like, I know a lot of writers have said that in the last few years. Like, we're trying to be so over the top that it's obviously satire, but then our world has gotten so um off the cliff, like just gone so left that anything now has become
Hmm.
very realistic, like the scene
Hmm.
in the institution where they shoot the character in the head. That seems so over the top and ridiculous, but it's a pretty apt and realistic metaphor for the fact that they were going to want to institutionalize disabled people and let them die in there. It's like, yeah, they may not actually shoot you in the head, but they do plan to like try that. It will be a pipeline for eugenics and for genocide, and we know that. And
Right.
that's what it was like, a really apt metaphor for. So I really thought that it is a coincidence sometimes how those things play out, but it really was, like KS said, it was triggering. As they said in the chat also, it's amazing how you guys were going over the top. Yet he clearly wasn't wild enough. It's like, yes, because that's why it still hits like satire. Because even as over the top as it is, it's like we're not there yet, but you can also feel where exactly where the vibes are coming from.
Hmm.
Right.
Um, my next question was about the soundtrack. The soundtrack was really unique, uh, and it was catchy in a way like you notice the songs. Even though it's a song you never heard before, a lot of soundtracks rely on recognition. It's like, but this was songs you never heard before. They sounded like original songs made for the film. And so I was curious, are these originals or just like extremely unique artists that you guys found for this soundtrack?
Um, their original soundtrack, it's original music. We unfortunately couldn't afford to get um the rights, to use music from other musicians. Um, we had a very good musician do a lot of the music you hear throughout the film, Armand Petrie, or Armand John Petrie, as he's known in the credits. Um, he did an outstanding job, and he did the music for us for free, and I'm very grateful to him. And a lot of the other music, like there were two songs, actually three that were kind of, one was rock, and then the other two were heavy metal.
Yes.
Those were done by a guy who lives around the Batavia, Lockport, now Batavia and Leroy area, called his name is Daniel Sprague, but I have no idea what he's doing now or his whereabouts. All I know from Colleen Willis, a good friend of mine who found him for us for my production, is that he's homeless and some issues came up with him. But a lot the other stuff, like the end credits song and the song that you hear during Nolan's chase, where he's chasing after where he's being chased by the police.
Yeah.
Um, those were done by Keith Jones. He did the rap song at the end credits, and he had a friend do a song during Nolan's getaway from the cops. And the other one, the second rap song that was at the end credits was done by Sam Dyer, who has Down syndrome.
I really like that.
He's actually the guy who gets shot in the institution. He did a song for the end
Oh,
credits.
okay. That song was really good, actually. I really liked that as well. I'm really curious. Is the soundtrack on Spotify or something? Because I would be interested to hear it again.
No, unfortunately, not yet.
Oh, that would be amazing because it's really good. Even if it was like a YouTube playlist, oh, that would be great. Because like I said, like we play a lot of different stuff in ChronicLoaf Stream. Those would definitely all be songs that we would play.
Nice to know.
It was giving soundtrack of the
Mhm.
revolution.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute Brooke now because they would like to ask a question.
Well, you answered some of it because I was kind of wondering what KS was with the, like, how did you know in advance how extreme everything would get? But you answered that really well. So a question I kind of had while I was watching it and laughing, how do you feel about how an abled audience would interact with this?
Well, I think the younger, the college and teenagers would like it. They dig it and would really understand it. The demographic between people in their, late teens, 20s, and 30s, they would really like it, in my opinion. Depends who the audience, who the people are, But I don't think a lot of parents would like the film. Some parents would not like it at all. They'd really hate it because they're not used to seeing people with disabilities, especially Down syndrome, kicking, butt on the screen and doing stuff that's, implying sexuality and stuff like that. They think that was taboo and not acceptable and not tolerable. So, that's how I feel a lot of parents would see the film in older audiences. But, I guess it would depend on who the parents are, who, if they grew up watching Trauma or The Toxic Avenger or Sergeant Kabuki Man, which is who the guy with the mask with the black and white on his face was. That was Sergeant Kabuki Man, and then that's a tie-in to Bill Whedon's character Kruger because Bill Whedon played Reginald Stewart in a film called Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD, and he played a Trump-like character in that film back in 1990 when Trump was a businessman, a rich, super rich millionaire businessman. So I hope that answers your question, Brooke.
It does. I just like watching it as somebody with disabilities. Like it hits different and it's so amazing to see the heroes of the movie. Like we're not being wasn't able people coming in to save the day, which was
Right.
amazing. And I'm curious how that hits with audiences who don't have the same experience as we do. But yeah, no, you answered. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. You're welcome.
Um, I was actually thinking a lot about what Brooke said too, because for me, like, yes, sex and violence. See, I don't even be thinking about that because, like, we're just humans. But what I really thought about it is the way, because I agree, younger people, their mindset is more how I'm acting now that I'm not living with my parents. Whereas when you're the parents, your mindset is, I don't want my kids to be doing that. Like that
Mhm.
is the perspective from which you think. So what I was actually thinking about was like seeing how disabled people are with each other, like the way we troll each other, our
Right.
dark sense of humor. The things
Mhm.
that for us is like how we play with each other. That's how we are in our community. But like as a Black person, when white people see our film, sometimes they'll be uncomfortable in the film. They're like, oh,
Right.
it's a Black film because the language is so different. Like you guys are still speaking regular English, but it's also that language that they don't expect to hear that because they're not used to how disabled people talk to each other, which is the same like when you see a movie that's basically written in AAV and it's almost like your ear is like he's being like, what am I hearing? Because you're so not used to just hearing that as what you normally speak. This film actually hits a lot like that. Like this is not what people are used to hearing, and especially parents are going to be like, I don't know if we should even be hearing this, even though technically disabled
Yeah.
people are the ones saying it
Hmm.
and disabled people are the ones writing it. They're going to be like, I don't know, maybe we should turn this off. Like to me, that is like the vibe. I'm like, there's so that vibe where people get uncomfortable just experience viewing what another community's every day is like.
Yeah, no, see it as, and I forgot to mention a lot of parents, and especially parents of people with disabilities in other families, they
Yes.
have Down syndrome. They'll see it. Oh, this is offensive and
Yeah,
demeaning.
I
Use
can't
it
let
at the
my kid watch this movie because they're using language. And it's like, this is how your kids' friends talk to each other if you actually let them spend time in their community.
Yeah,
right, right,
that's right.
Yeah, and so I really think it's important in that way. I feel like it's going to be a cult film for disabled kids. Like
well,
this
I
is
hope
going to be a,
so.
a film where like the disabled kids, you find out who you could really hang out with when you're like, oh, you've seen Special Needs Result? Well, okay, we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends if you like that movie. Okay, like I feel like it's going to be like that for them. The people who their parents aren't listening to what like I know there's nothing wrong with me, but also my experience in this life is different. And I need you to accept that and acknowledge that and see that. Those kids, I feel like this film will feel like home to them, will feel like, oh, people who are speaking in my language and understanding that this is how I think all the time. But if I try to talk about this around you, you say, don't talk like that. Don't do that. Because you don't understand that for our culture, that's just really normal.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is the use of the R word, but what I'm prepared to tell people is the people who use that word are basically the bad guys in the film, the people who aren't nice, the evil people
Yeah,
like Gacy, the guard, who shot the guy with Down syndrome in the head, the actor. He's not you're not supposed to like him, and he's using that word for a reason because you're not supposed to like him, especially Kruger. And I guess the reason I had Nolan use that word is because to show that, you're accusing us, people with disabilities, of being the R word. Look how you're acting and behaving. You're acting stupid
that's
Yeah,
and
right.
ignorant.
I definitely felt that. I and Kaya said in the chat, I like that you didn't water it down. And like I felt the same way. I was like, I feel like not using censored language was really important in this film. What made you guys choose to like not use censored language when writing the script?
Um, I just thought I wanted to go all out and not cookie cutter it, not sugarcoat it, and not water it down to like something that we've already seen a lot of times that's PG-13 or PG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it something that's totally different that hasn't been seen before as a feature-length narrative film.
like
Oh,
that
and also,
raw, authentic self.
It felt like raw, like old school Quentin Tarantino,
Yeah,
right.
but disabled people. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it really felt like that. Like we care more about what we're our raw film than how many people are gonna mainstream enjoy it. Like,
yeah,
That's right. That's right. And also the reason I also wrote it is because I have a disability myself and I'm a self-advocate and I work with people with disabilities with two disability agencies as a job that pays. And and my disability is on the autism spectrum. So I guess that that is why I also wrote the script and wrote a lot of other elements in it. So, and the struggles, also the same struggles I face, even to this day, of wanting to find Mrs. Right, and that never seems to happen.
You know what? I think that is, again, one of those things where it's so much more relatable when the people you see on screen portraying disabled people are actually disabled people.
Right,
Because then afterwards, when you're like, wow, I'm so inspired by Nolan, and then you go look, you're like, this isn't some guy who's playing a part. This is like part of who he is. And he's really someone I, as a person with Downs, can identify with and like feel like this is a guy too who, like, in the story, yes, it's silly, but he's also a guy who's like, I just want a girlfriend. Like, I'm not asking for that much. And he is like,
right,
but also, he's like, you can see his character development in the movie is the reason why he gets the girl. And it's like, that is like a very low key part of the film, but it's still part of it. And I loved that. And I was like, that's something that's so, it wasn't the main plot in any way, but that's so real for people to see. That's like, yeah, but we're
Mhm.
on a journey and we're on a path and we're working on ourselves. And when we get to where we need to be, we're all hoping things are going to work out for us because I know most of us are still on that path and journey.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, KS was saying it's kind of like a stub plot that adds richness to the story. And I totally agree with that. Like, because you don't just want a film about disabled people where, yes, it's awesome that they're kicking ass and they're the heroes, but you don't want there to not be any sex and there to not be any romance because, like, then we're like, why? like it's just because it's a disabled person? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's still a whole person.
Hmm.
It's still
Right,
a person.
that's
Yep.
right, exactly. And yeah, we have the same desires as everyone else, and that's was the point of the film. And I but there, like I said before, I know there's going to be parent groups and people out there who are, when this becomes more well known, especially on the conservative side, who are going to be really up in arms saying this is offensive, this is demeaning, this
Yeah.
is
But
really
They.
when they finally do like a piece like, oh, this new cult film that's hit, there's going to be so many op-eds.
Yep.
right.
And a lot of the negativity that come with that.
Because anytime you see people reclaiming a slur, one of my favorite things about this is that the disabled people in the film use ableist language in a lot of different ways, which is realistic to how reclaiming language usually works. And it's like, so when people are asking, like, well, how come you can use it this way and I can't? It's like, it doesn't matter. I don't have to answer that question. All I have to say is I'm reclaiming that language and this is our word and you can't use it anymore. But of course, we can use it.
Right.
Some of us have this medical diagnosis still. And it's like, but you can't. Like, that's just like out of respect. It's not, we can't physically stop you from doing anything, but out of respect, you should respect the community enough to just accept that we're asking you not to use that language. And I think that that's the kind of thing that comes up when people see, like, oh, so you can say it. It's very much that vibe in this movie.
Right, yeah, just like with the N-word, and what I've been trying to tell
Mhm.
people on Facebook, but they don't understand and they get pissed off and block me or unfriend me, who don't
Yep.
understand what I'm trying to
Yep.
say.
But it's very much that. It's a very, like, yes, I can say it. And if someone wants to tell me not to call them that, it's someone in my community and they can make those rules, but not you. You don't make those rules. And so I thought you guys did a great demonstration of that with the way you wrote this script and the way it was portrayed.
Well, thank you. It's really great and awesome to hear that. Very touching.
Yeah, I really appreciate it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And we're definitely going to keep watching it in our community. And I know it's going to grow.
Yeah, if you could send people to 2B, 2B TV,
I
if
I stream in a lot of different ways sometimes, and I always tell people the original platforms or things are on so that they can go watch it at home whenever they ask, so that they can watch it at home too.
Yeah, because Tubi is for free. It's free with the ads. With if you watch Special Needs Revolt on there,
In
and
fact, I already sent my family to watch this movie. I've
oh
already been telling
wow,
people,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
my
good.
mom watched it last week. I've been telling people in my family, I'm like, you need to watch this movie. It's really great.
right. Well, thank you so much for doing that.
And thank you guys so much for making it. It's takes so much sacrifice
Yeah,
and to really be dedicated to any major undertaking in like arts especially. So thank you so much for doing that because you guys really made something that's meaningful to the disability community.
well, thank you, and
Thank you.
yeah, and also, did Nolan? Did you have any final statements or final thing you wanted to say?
Actually, I'm gonna say this. Take a look what's out there and take a look what's in that movie. That's life.
Really, that's the reality of the path that we could be on if people don't exactly rise up and revolt and fight for change.
That's right.
Exactly. That's right.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up, but thank you everyone so much for coming. And hopefully nothing goes wrong with Zoom and this recording will save.
All right, and thank you. I'm gonna ChronicLoaf is your name.
Yeah,
Your
Mei Lee.
Mei
Mei Lee
Lee.
Johnson.
Haley.
All
Great
right,
And
Mei
it was
name.
Lee.
so lovely meeting you, Nolan, and nice to see you
Let's
again,
see you.
Adrian.
It was really lovely meeting you too.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for this.
Thank you.
Anytime.